Welcome to Hands on M365. We are really digging into a huge wave of updates this time. Microsoft Teams in October 2025. I mean, this wasn't just a few tweaks, was it? It felt like almost every part of Teams got touched.
Oh, absolutely. October was massive, foundational, really. If you're managing teams day to day, you saw changes from basic user experience right through to some deep security stuff, and even completely new types of AI
All
collaborators.
right, so our goal here, as always in Hands on M365, is to kind of cut through all that noise, those dozens of Message Center posts, and figure out what really matters for you. And we're basing this on the info straight from Microsoft, the roadmap, the Message Center, all nicely put together by João Ferreira over on his Hands on Teams blog.
Yeah, and looking through Juan's analysis, we've kind of picked out three updates that really jumped out, real game changers. First, there's this fantastic new image search, huge for productivity. Second, how Teams channels are now integrated into context IQ prompts. Makes Copilot way smarter.
And that third one, especially for folks managing projects or dealing with governance, apps in private channels. Finally, that's been a source of frustration for, well, years for a lot of people, I think. Okay, so let's kick things off with features that change how you actually use Teams every day. And I have to start with that image search you mentioned. Before, if I needed, say, a specific diagram someone shared like 3 months back, good luck, endless scrolling. This feels like pure efficiency gain.
It really tackles a classic digital workspace headache, doesn't it? Microsoft confirms you can now look for images based on like the text in the message it came with or who sent it or even just the channel or chat it was in.
And the speed is important too, right? How does it actually work? Does it feel instant?
Pretty much. The results pop up as you type right there in the main search bar. No need to click away. And then you can filter just for images or dive deeper in a dedicated images tab in the search results. It basically makes pictures as easy to find as text.
Nice. Okay, sticking with workflow. Another big friction point, at least for me, was trying to keep track of multiple conversations, jumping between channels constantly. Now we can open channels in their own windows.
Yes, this is a huge win for multitasking, right? So if you're deep in one project channel, but you also need to keep an eye on, say, a support channel, you can just pop them out, separate windows. It's on by default for desktop users, rolling out late October into November.
Okay, let's switch gears to apps in private channels. You mentioned that was a big deal. Why was not having this such a problem, strategically speaking, more than just annoying?
Well, think about where private channels get used. It's often for the really sensitive stuff, yeah. Strategy discussions, maybe new product designs, HR things. If your team's standard tools, like a project board app or maybe a specific security bot, couldn't be added there, it created problems. Teams either had to ditch the tool they needed, or maybe worse, they'd take those sensitive chats outside of Teams to use the tool. Not ideal for security.
Right, that makes sense. So technically, what exactly can channel owners do now?
So this rollout, starting in October, lets the channel owner add tabs, bots, message extensions, you name it, right into that private channel. The key thing is apps have to be added per channel. It's not an all or nothing thing. And importantly, there are new governance controls for IT alongside this. So while users get more freedom, admins can still control which apps are even allowed in private channels in the first place. Granular control.
Okay. And on a maybe a smaller scale, but still about making Teams feel a bit more personal, emojis and section names.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch for visual organization. Rolling out in November just helps you quickly spot a section. Put a little warning emoji next to urgent projects or something. Quicker than reading text sometimes.
And finally, in this section, a UI tweak.
Uh-huh.
The new sharing panel in meetings.
Yeah, this looks like a nice simplification, modernizing the look and feel, but also making it easier to do common things like share just one window or quickly share a file. Anything that reduces clicks when you're trying to present in a meeting is usually welcome, right? Less fumbling.
Okay, moving on from everyday chat and channels to more structured events, meetings, town halls. Microsoft's pushing quality here. Full HD, 1080p, coming to Teams town halls. That sounds great for making presentations look sharp.
It's definitely a big step up visually, but there are a few catches. Technical folks listening need to pay attention here. It's not just automatically on for everyone.
Okay. What are the prerequisites then?
Right, so first, the organizer needs a Teams premium license. That's key. Second, your IT admin has to specifically go and enable this. There's a policy setting, Town Hall Max resolution. And third, well, you actually need the network to handle it. You need support for ultra-low latency streaming to get that smooth 1080p feed out globally. So, yeah, some admin homework required.
Got it. Premium license, admin policy, network check. Makes sense. And staying with these big events, but thinking about physical spaces. Teams rooms on Windows are getting smarter views, role-specific views for town halls.
Yeah, this is clever. It solves that awkward situation where you have presenters and attendees in the same physical room using a Teams room system. The main screen, the big one at the front of the room, it defaults to showing what the attendees see. So all the presenter stuff, the green room chat, backstage Q&A, notes, that's all hidden from the main display, kept private on the console the presenter uses, keeps things looking professional, avoids accidental shares.
That's smart.
Yeah.
And that kind of attention to device details seems to carry over to just joining a regular meeting, too. The improved device selection. That sounds like it solves a common annoyance.
Oh, yeah. That panic moment when you join and realize your mic isn't the right one or your good headset isn't selected, hopefully that's gone. Now you can pick and change your mic, speaker, headset right there on the join screen before you actually enter the meeting. That's for desktop and web.
Much needed.
Hmm.
Okay, next up. Audio-only recording. Why would you want just the audio if people might still have cameras on?
Good question. It seems to be about specific needs, maybe for archiving purposes where only audio is required, or perhaps some compliance scenarios dictate audio-only records, even if video is present visually. It's basically another option. It uses all the existing recording and data retention policies, just gives you a different file format at the end.
Okay, more choice. Now, shifting firmly into compliance territory. This sounds big. Requiring explicit consent for recording or transcription in one-to-one calls.
It is big. It's a new admin-controlled policy setting. Applies to your regular one-on-one PSTN calls or VoIP calls within Teams. And the really critical technical part, the way it works. When that consent prompt pops up, it actually disables the media, audio, and video for everyone on the call until everyone explicitly clicks accept. It's a hard stop. Really designed to remove any ambiguity or risk around consent in those potentially sensitive one-on-one conversations.
Wow, okay. That's quite an enforcement. And finally, for those managing the meeting room hardware itself, new health signals for Teams Rooms Pro users.
Yeah, this is for rooms with the Pro license on Windows devices, better troubleshooting. Basically, if there's a critical problem like the camera's offline or the microphone's failed banner notifications will pop up right on the main room display and on the console. Helps prevent people booking a room only to find it's not working and hopefully get support alerted faster.
All right, let's dive deep into the admin side now. Security, governance, control. Microsoft's adding more security and compliance info right into the Teams Admin Center, the TAC. What's that about?
It's really about transparency for admins. The TAC will now show more detailed security and compliance data points, things like whether an app meets SOC 2 or ISO 27001 or GDPR requirements. And critically, this isn't just for Microsoft's own certified apps anymore. It's expanding to include other applications too. The data is being pulled in from Microsoft Defender for cloud apps, so you get a much broader risk picture for all the apps interacting with Teams.
Okay, so if they're pulling data for non-certified apps now, does that change how admins need to review those apps? Is the responsibility still on them?
Absolutely. It gives the admin way more information up front, much better context. But yeah, the ultimate decision on risk and approval still rests with them. To help with that, though, Microsoft is adding new filters in the TAC. Admins can now filter the app list based on these compliance standards, show me only apps that meet SOC 2 or HiPay, for example. Makes the evaluation process hopefully a bit quicker and more consistent.
And they're getting even more detailed insights too, right? Permission and privilege levels on the app details page.
Exactly. So for each app, the TAC will show a risk rating for every single permission the app asks for, like read all user files is high risk, obviously. And it also gives an overall privilege level score for the app. Just helps admins quickly gauge how much access an app wants before they click approve. Really useful for that rapid risk assessment.
Okay. Moving up a level now, system-wide stuff. These secure by default changes for Exchange and Teams APIs. What's the big picture goal here?
The goal is basically to lock things down further, reduce the potential for users to accidentally expose data. Microsoft is changing the default consent policy. Going forward, admin consent will be required for third-party apps wanting to access Exchange or Teams data via that default policy. It stops users from just adding random apps themselves and granting them potentially risky permissions without IT oversight. Puts control back with the admins.
Makes sense. Control is key. Speaking of control, Purview secure workflow for deletion. This sounds complicated. Why would you want to bypass a legal hold or retention policy?
Yeah, it's definitely a specialized tool for compliance admins. It's for those rare but necessary situations where content that's currently locked by a legal hold or retention, maybe a specific Teams recording or transcript, actually needs to be permanently deleted before the hold expires. Think like a specific court order or maybe a major policy update requiring deletion. This purview workflow provides a very strict, controlled, and auditable way to do that. It involves simulations, getting explicit approvals, and leaves a clear audit trail so the deletion is legally defensible. It's not something you'd use lightly.
Okay, high-stakes compliance tool. Got it. Finally, in this admin section, broader external collaboration. Chatting with anyone using just an email address. That sounds potentially useful, but it's on by default. Isn't that a risk? People accidentally chatting sensitive info with random external guests.
That's the trade-off, isn't it? Microsoft's clearly pushing for maximum connectivity. Let Teams users easily start a chat with anyone just using their email. That person joins as a guest. It bridges gaps for sure, but you're right to flag the risk. Admins absolutely need to know this default exists, and they can turn it off. There's a Teams messaging policy setting to disable it if their organization's security posture requires tighter control over external chats. Definitely one to review.
Okay, let's shift to the really cutting-edge stuff. AI is starting to really weave itself into Teams now. October saw updates aimed at making Copilot smarter, starting with Teams channels showing up in Context IQ prompts.
Right. Context IQ is sort of Copilot's awareness engine, you know. It tries to understand where you are and what you're doing in M365 to make its suggestions relevant. By bringing Teams channel context into that, Copilot can now search or reference info from that specific channel when you're writing a prompt in that channel. Should mean fewer generic answers and more tailored, useful suggestions based on the actual team conversation.
So more relevant AI help. But the really mind-bending update is agentic users. You said this is a whole new class of digital coworker.
Yeah, this is fascinating from a technical identity perspective. Microsoft is introducing agentic users as, well, essentially AI entities that function as independent users on the network. They have their own identity, their own system access. They can potentially collaborate on documents, attend meetings, perform tasks autonomously, like another member of the team, but
Yeah.
AI.
Wow, independent users. So first question an admin's going to ask.
Yeah.
Do they need their own license? Like a full E3 or E5 seat for an AI, or is this a whole new licensing thing?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The exact licensing model is still something we need more detail on. But what we do know is they need dedicated access precisely because they're designed to carry out complex tasks. And this is boosted by something called channel agent orchestration. This lets these AI agents interact with other systems, even third-party ones.
Okay, interacting with third-party tools, like what, and how does that orchestration piece work?
Think about workflow platforms or dev tools. The documentation mentions integrations with MCP servers that could mean things like GitHub, Asana, JRA, potentially others. So an agent could be tasked with, say, checking the status of issues in JRA, updating a task in Asana, and then reporting back in the Teams channel. Multi-step, cross-system tasks. Crucially, for transparency and trust, the agent is designed to show it's working its step-by-step reasoning right there in the channel as it performs the task.
That transparency is absolutely critical if you've got non-human users making changes across systems.
Definitely. Okay, wrapping up the technical updates, a big integration piece. Viva Engage Community is coming right into Teams. Yeah, this is about bringing more of the M365 suite under the Teams umbrella, making Teams the central hub. Viva Engage, which is kind of the evolution of Yammer, right? It's where those broader company-wide, often asynchronous conversations happen, leadership announcements, interest groups, that kind of thing. Now, those communities will live right alongside your chats and channels in the Teams client, bringing that social or community layer directly into the main collaboration app. Hashtag outro.
Phew, okay, that was a really packed, hands-on M365, covering a huge October 2025 for Teams. Just to quickly recap some big themes, massive productivity boost from things like image search, and on the admin side, much more power and transparency with the TAC updates and those new purview controls.
Yeah, and definitely a big push on quality and compliance, too, with the 1080p town halls and that explicit consent requirement for 1.1 call recording.
But thinking bigger picture, connecting the dots, especially with that introduction of agentic users, it really poses a fundamental question, doesn't it? Our digital workplaces, they're shifting. It won't just be human-to-human collaboration anymore. It's going to be human-to-AI user. So as these autonomous AI agents become more common, what does that mean for your infrastructure, your governance policies, and critically, as you asked earlier, your licensing? What do you need to start planning for? Like right now, it feels like a whole new ballgame for security too.
It really does. Admins need to start thinking about these AIs almost like new employees with their own access needs and their own potential risk profiles. It's a significant shift.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for tuning in to this Hands-on M365 podcast.
And to make sure you catch our future discussions, definitely follow Joan for his blog and, of course, this podcast.
For daily updates about Microsoft 365, plus loads of tips and tricks for getting the most out of SharePoint, Teams, and all the other M365 apps, make sure you visit handsontech.net. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.